Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Public Opinion Tea Time with your hosts, Pam and Vanetta. Public Opinion Tea Time centers around us talking about what everyone is talking about. And one of the things that everyone is talking about is Queen Charlotte, which is a series in the Bridgerton whole series of shows. And this talks about the young Queen Charlotte and her marriage to King George and their epic love story.
I loved it. The first Bridgerton was my favorite, and this is number 2, and a very close number 2. But the one reason why it's number 2 is because it wasn't as many episodes.
Oh, yeah, there was only 6 episodes in this.
I needed more.
Yeah.
I wanted to cry when it was over.
Oh, my goodness. And this is actually a prequel. Like I said, it talks about the young Queen Charlotte, who really everyone had come to know and love, even though Queen Charlotte has this whole stoic and mean aspect of her. She
was revered more so than loved.
Yes. She has something about her, though, that you wanted to get to know more of. And that's what this series
It did an excellent job.
Excellent job.
It showed her vulnerability. It showed her youth. It showed her ignorance to some things.
Yeah, it really talks a whole lot about her. And it gave you a better look into her.
And the origin story.
The origin of the story.
And also the Great Experiment. They talked about that a lot, about how they were bringing these cultures together and how important it was. I love the fact that when Lady Danbury, when her husbad died, it was going to break up like almost the ascension that they had to the royals.
Yes.
Because there hadn't been a death in the Black families, the lineage, and they didn't know how to handle it.
Yeah, and you know what? And I loved how they portrayed Lady Danbury because she was very cunning and she was very smart. And the mother of King George, she wanted to give these people titles so that she could have all these people around, but she didn't give them the very thing that they really needed to have to back up the title. And that's what Lady Danbury did, because when the mother of King George said, well, I want you to go in and see what's going on and making sure that she's going to have an heir coming or whatever. She said, okay, you want me to do all this, but you're going to have to give me some, my husband, and make him be more than just a namesake. We need to have some,
we need the things that come with
the things that come with. We need to have property. We need to have all that other stuff.
And accept it. He wanted to go to the hunt.
Right.
That was a big deal.
Yeah.
But I thought now, and what's really true now, his mother loved her son. Her manner in which she did it seemed crass and cruel, but she did love him, and she knew that she needed the continuation of the bloodline.
Yeah.
And that is so important in royal families.
Yeah, exactly. But I let's talk about the casting. Oh my God, they did a wonderful job of casting, because the young Queen Charlotte, not only did she look like her, but she had that whole presence that embodied. Same thing with Lady Danbury, the young Lady Danbury.
Right.
The way she portrayed it, so much on point. I really, really enjoyed it.
I thought it was really well done. The casting, as you said, the wardrobing and the hair.
Yeah. Oh my God. That wardrobe though was phenomenal. I'm telling you, every single piece that they had, and it wasn't just what Queen Charlotte wore, it was what everybody had on. It was just the detailing, it was just magnificent. I loved it.
I love that.
Yes.
And you're absolutely right. And then even the mother, no matter whether you liked her or not, she sat in a very regal manner, and she just, I don't know. It was, but what it did show back then and still today, it's true, women were not valued, because she had to be advised by everybody, and she kept saying all is well. I kept thinking of the Bible. So all is well.
Yeah.
And those men were really trying to take her over, the mother. And as well as when Lady Danbury's husband passed, she needed a solicitor to come. And they said, it won't come for a woman. And she said, don't sign my first name.
Yeah.
So these women had to be extremely smart.
Right. And that's the thing. They were still, the thing is, they were able to rule a whole nation, even from their position. But they had to be cunning enough to be able to do it and still have the husband look
Like
like
to be
he
the
was
front
the one
line.
in the front.
Mhm.
And that's what Queen Charlotte was. She recognized early on, okay, my husband ain't gonna be able to handle a whole lot of stuff. But she remained by his side. It was just interesting. I just thought it was a beautiful love story on how they came to love each other. It wasn't, it wasn't a normal love like what we consider now in our present
their love
time.
was protective love. She protected him and he was protecting her from him.
Yes.
I mean, and that was beautiful.
Oh,
but at the end, when they were sitting there and they were flashing back her face and his face, I was just crying.
Oh, it was beautiful. And how he said, you didn't go over the wall. And she was like, no, I did not go over the wall. And she didn't. But the thing is, I was thinking about, back then, and that was, really the way it was then. But to have to say you have to marry this person and you have to have a family. And I'm wondering, wow, I guess if that's just how things were, we look upon it now because we're in modern society. But back then,
options.
Her brother basically sold, not sold her, but he signed her over,
signed the security of his nation
to
ensure. And she was kind of taking it pretty well, even though she was mouthy and all that.
Yeah.
She was taking it. She was saying she was being impaled by this shark,
right? So she could be put on display to the, and
then you get there. Okay, I've traveled. I've done all this. And then you tell me I can't even wear the wedding gown I had designed.
Or have the wedding night but even though she really wasn't, she didn't know everything that was supposed to happen. But Lady Danbury even drew her those.
She was a good drawer. She did a good job.
She was like, this is what it's gonna be like. Okay.
She should have said you can just sleep through it or cry. I mean, because Lady Danbury had no enjoyment. It was very clear.
Didn't. But you know what? Let's talk about Brimsley. Oh, and I just loved him. And I really hope that they loyal. What I hope that they do is that they do more of a sort of like a Downton Abbey where they talk more about the people who are downstairs. That type of thing. Because obviously there's so many stories to be told about that. But he just gave up all of his life to serve her. And he did have that love. And they touched on it, the fact that they had he had a whole gay lover.
And that was perfect. It was the king's man and he was the queen's man.
And how they were out there dancing.
When he was dancing, I love that.
It was
but there's a lot of love in this one, because it talked about Lady Danbury and Bridgerton's father. Yeah. And how that's when her garden bloomed.
And she had a secret love affair.
When her garden bloomed. She never enjoyed sex with her husband.
But her husband, who would enjoy sex? That was, I don't know if they made him look like that for comic relief.
It was actually a character.
I mean, he was supposed to have been this king at Sierra Leone, and she was made to marry him when she was young.
She had been groomed since
she had been groomed to marry this man. Just like sort of Coming to America, or whatever you like. I like,
I don't like mulled wine. She said it's terrible.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, he had a face that would scare small children.
Yeah, it would scare a whole lot of people. Small animals. Okay. But
big ones.
But and so they showed whenever they had sex, it was like, this is a duty. And remember her little handmaid, her one was like, you okay? I really liked her as well. Right. I would love to have seen a story. Because everybody has a story,
right?
And so that's why I do hope that Shonda
and everybody has a confidant. You can see their servants were their confidant.
Exactly. So I do hope maybe she will delve into that in future other episodes that she does, where she will delve more into like the people who are actually their help. And all of their storylines.
Shonda, are you listening?
Yeah, because I think that would
it's about 72 more.
Because you can make so much out of all of this. And she has a following, and she got 2 people and a 200 million other millions and hundreds of thousands of people who love it.
13 kids you can go into. You got all of those kids.
Yeah. Now they didn't do as good a casting with her children.
Oh my goodness.
Because none of them really looked like they had any
could have been related to her.
Related to if they're trying to go with that whole, African,
They had
Roots.
one boy
They didn't
who had a
do
little
that.
bend to his hair.
Yeah.
And then one girl you said, I didn't notice
Yeah.
that bend to her.
No, more of a darker
Hue of skin.
But
I
other than that, they didn't really kind of make
But
that
she took
look
her
right.
job seriously. You want some airs? I got it. I'm on
But
this.
what I do like though is when they were talking about, you know how they had the picture that people rely upon now to say, oh, well, you know, look at her. She does have these features. And a lot more of it came out when Meghan married Harry. They were like, well, she ain't the first. But when they showed the artist, remember they said making them a little dark, you know,
lighten her skin.
They said lighten her skin up a little bit more.
Not on the family portrait, on the
right,
picture
but on her
the wedding day picture.
Yeah.
And then he was sitting like a pimp too. I didn't understand that. And he wasn't even there. Why'd you pose him like that?
Yeah. But we're out of time. No,
we can do part two.
We could do on and on, but we say all that to say that we loved Queen Charlotte. We really, and we look forward to the next season of Bridgerton. And if you enjoy watching us, continue to watch us on Facebook as well as on YouTube. And if you cannot watch us, listen to us on the go, anywhere you listen to your podcast. And until next time, we'll see you for another episode of Public Opinion Tea Time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.